Hey, it's Mr. Dang, and for today's Friday Functions video, I'll be showing you how you can reorder layers inside your app. And I'm not just talking about reordering a layer when you're editing the app. I'm talking about when a user is actually playing the app. How do layers change order? Well, let's check out an example. Here's one of the games that I've built in Power Apps. And you can see I have a sprite hidden behind the tree right now. That's because the sprite is a layer that's below the tree inside the app. But if I click this right arrow, it goes to the front, and if I click the left arrow, it goes behind. How did I do that? Let's check it out. In this new blank app, I have the minimum parts needed to show you how to reorder layers. If I were to click this circle, it would go to the front. If I click this rectangle, the rectangle is focused. Here I have used some rules. Let me click inside one of these rules to tell you a little bit more about what's going on. So in this rule, this rectangle has a condition. When this variable called relayer is true, then it performs these actions. It brings the z index of this circle to 1, which is a smaller number. Then the z index of the rectangle to 2, which is the larger number. So the z index of these controls is a property that you really won't find in the advanced panel or anywhere else. You can only do this in rules, which makes rules a very powerful tool. So let's take a look at what rules are, and you can go ahead and peek at some of the documentation for rules on our Microsoft Docs. We'll be recreating the same thing on screen 2, and I'll walk you through what's going on and why things are working the way they are. I'll start by inserting two shapes, a rectangle and a circle. I've got my rectangle, and then I'll scroll to the bottom again and select my circle. I'm going to change the color of this circle because right now I really don't know what's on the top or on the bottom. Just move it on the side a little bit. For these rules to activate, I'll be using a variable. So I select both of them. I go to their onSelect property so that when I select these, they'll perform this action. They will both set a variable that I'm going to be calling relayer. Right now, they're both setting that variable relayer to true. I'm going to have one of them change that variable to false. This way, one of them will perform an action when the variable is true. The other one will flip it to the other condition. I'm going to select what I want affected by this rule. It's important that you select everything that you want affected. Then I click New Rule in the Rules panel on the right-hand side. Under Conditions, I'll place a custom condition. By default, it'll attempt to pull in the name of this control. I'm going to erase that because we're going to be using a variable. Our variable is called relayer. So when this is true, it'll perform these actions. Now you'll notice I didn't write equals true because I think that's redundant. Everything in this box is already understood that when everything in this box is true, then it'll perform these actions. So I could get by without putting that equals true at the top. I'll go ahead and select Define Actions. A dialog will pop up telling me I'm about to start recording a macro. You'll see that this experience is very similar to recording a macro in Microsoft Excel. I'm going to click Let's Go. And at the top of this screen, you'll see it's telling me I'm recording a macro right now. It's important to know that. So here I could perform any of the actions that I'm actually going to want to happen to this rectangle. So I want this rectangle to be brought forward when the variable is true. That's the only action I need, but let me just go ahead and show you I could actually change the fill property of this rectangle if the variable is true. I could change border properties. I could change its alignment, its position, its size. I could change any of the properties as part of the rule. But I'll just keep it simple to the reordering, and I'll leave it up to you to decide what you want to do. You'll see here that it's defined the actions as the circle having a smaller z index and the rectangle having a bigger one. I'm going to do the same thing for the circle. I'll select the circle because that's what I want a new rule applied to. I'll click New Rule, and I'll place a condition. Here, I'll erase the name of the control again and put the name of that variable that I want, relayer. This time, though, I want to check when relayer is false. There's two ways I could do this. I could either specify my condition as when relayer is false, do these things. Another way of doing this is I could use the not function so that when relayer is not true, it'll perform these actions. And finally, my preferred way of showing that I want relayer to be false is the exclamation point. It's very convenient. This means when relayer is not true, it'll perform these actions. I'll click Define Actions again, click the Let's Go button, and then I record my action. I just want this to be brought forward once. By chance, bringing it to the front and bringing it forward by one layer has the exact same outcome. Click that action, click Done. You can see that nothing really happened because it's already on the top, but we want the circle to be brought one layer forward when that does happen. Okay. So when I click and play this app, I should see that the rule for bringing the rectangle forward is active. So the rectangle is brought forward when relayer is true. And if I were to click the circle, it brings relayer to false, and which means the circle is going to be brought forward. So you can do a lot with rules, and especially with reordering layers, which can only be done with rules. That's a use case that I think that you'll find useful. So tell me what you would do with this function, this rules feature inside Power Apps. What are you going to be reordering? What kinds of actions are you going to be recording as part of your macros? I'm very interested to know.